Hello, I'm in the top part of the Konisu Highway. It's a highway, it's literally a track in the desert that I'm enjoying on my own and with my thoughts tumbling in my head as I drive. It's going to take me 4 days to get back to civilization. And the question that has been running through my head again and again, actually for several months now, is have Ineos managed to do what they had set out to do? And what they had set out to do for me was quite clear. It was to replace the Defender, the old boxy Defender that we absolutely loved because it was of what it could do and what it did and what it was. Have they succeeded in replacing it? Because Land Rover themselves, when they replaced it with a Defender, they only replaced it with Defender by name only. Four-wheel drive enthusiasts were including myself, were very disappointed in it. Is that we wanted a car that we could love as four-wheel drive enthusiasts. But there was one thing during all of these launches that when Ineos announced it, my heart sank. I thought, I'm Andrew St Pierre White, explorer, overlander and broadcaster with over 40 years driving 4x4s. Welcome to 4X Overland. I'm a prisoner of this hill. Ineos, like any other motor manufacturer, wants a backstory. They want some authenticity. So they created this backstory that they all got together in the Grenadier pub somewhere in England and decided that they would make a car to replace the Defender. A risky, bold, expensive move. This is not something that happens very often. It's a modernized version of a very old-fashioned vehicle, and it's the old-fashionedness, i.e. basic, practical, useful, that we like and want. My question is, have they succeeded? Does it meet does it tick all the boxes that the Defender once ticked? All right, let's see. The Defender was four-wheel drive. Yes, tick. It had a ladder frame chassis and solid front axles. Before I tick that box, which obviously I am going to tick, why is that important? What's so special about a ladder frame chassis? Well, what it means is, in practical terms, let's get rid of the hype. It means that, like the Jeep, the Land Cruiser 70, the Grenadier is capable of being modified. In other words, the rigidity and strength of the vehicle does not depend on its body in any significant way. That means that adaptations can be done to it, and even the chassis itself modified. Things that you cannot do with a monocoque chassis. Monocoque chassis is it's like an egg. You can't modify an egg. An egg is an egg. Okay? So that's wonderful. Being solid axles means that it has an advantage off-road. In most off-road situations, it is an advantage. And also, when lifting it, you have fewer problems with drive shaft universal angles. So it's easier to lift a vehicle with solid axles. You can lift it higher with it having less effect on the drivetrain axles and drivetrain angles and things like that. So, yes, tick that box. Ineos spending a lot of time promoting the vehicle. There's a big Africa trip, Trans-Africa trip being set up. They didn't ask me to do it. I know why they didn't ask me to do it, but somebody else has done it who's also been to Africa a few times. And I'm sure Ineos will regard that trip as a massive success no matter what happens, because that's how they'll engineer it. And I suspect that the vehicle is quite capable of doing that trip with no difficulty at all. When you go on a press launch of a vehicle, I've been on a lot, four-wheel drives, almost all of them have been four-wheel drives, not all, most of them. They set up an off-road course. the course is tailored for journalists. In other words, every obstacle has been tried and tested, and the organisers know that the vehicle is at the extreme edge of its performance capabilities and will never exceed it. It will never struggle to climb a slope. Because if it struggles to climb a slope, they'll go a different route so it doesn't struggle to climb a slope, because the vehicle can't be seen by journalists to struggle to climb a slope, can it? It has to be able to do it easily. So the journalists stand back and say, marvellous, isn't that great? It's fantastic. So I'm imagining the trip in Africa will be an overland trip, fantastic, and I hope they go to some interesting, wild and interesting places. But if they have challenges with, and this is one of my big questions that I've raised a lot, in all of the Grenadiers' presentations, a lot of them, I have not seen a single one, not one shot, not one, where the vehicle has been loaded with more than 2 people. Nothing on the roof, nothing in the back, because if you put something in the back, it's going to sag down at the back. And it's not going to look so good, is it? You can't have that. It's got to look good. So, and all of the press footage, they're not loading it. My question is, when you've been doing all these tests in all of these countries, have you been loading it while doing these tests? Or are you emptying it and then shooting the pictures so it looks good? I want to see how well it performs with a load. Have you guys at Ineos done that? But there was one thing during all of these launches that when Ineos announced it, my heart sank. I thought, why? When I heard the words Recaro seats, I think a lot of people went, wow, you're going to pay for those seats. Yes, they're fantastic seats. What it should have had is, we're putting in really basic, maybe we won't do vinyl, but we'll do cloth seats, but we'll keep them absolutely basic, because we're trying to build a replacement to the Defender. But they put Recaro seats in. I want to decide whether I want Recaro seats or not. I want to decide what I spend my money on, not you. Now you look around me, I have leather, trim, switches, leather armrest, fridge. All of this has been tweaked and dolled up. That is the essence of Defender. It's designed like the Land Cruiser 70 and delivered in its very basic, useful but basic form. Perfectly designed for the enthusiast to add and play. The basic cost of this vehicle used to be quite inexpensive. The Defender was not an expensive car. And this, what I'm looking at right now, is why the Ineos Grenadier is not a Defender replacement. People at Ineos, you're not understanding what a 4x4 enthusiast is or does. You've missed it. For example, that overhead roof console with all those switches. Hey, I'm also, my inner 9-year-old really likes that. But the fact is that, you know, and part of it is optional, but the fact that it's there on all of them, as far as I can see, means that it's driven the price of all of them up. 50% of the people that buy the Grenadier, assuming we're not just talking about enthusiasts here, we're talking about the broader market for this vehicle, couldn't care less about switches at the top. They want a functioning truck. Who cares where the switches are? That was put in, I believe, because the guys at Ineos decided, yes, it'll be really appealing to the enthusiast. Sure, you're not wrong. What is even more appealing to the enthusiast by a big measure is you keep the base price low, low, low. The base price is too expensive. Ineos, stop spending our money for us. But I know what you've done. I know how you've reacted to this. You've made the same mistake that Land Rover did when they brought out their Defender, the new one. They've said, we're building a car beautiful for accessorizing. But guess what? We'll make all the accessories ourselves, and we'll make money out of the accessories also. Do you have any idea how bad an idea that is? Offer the very basics so that somebody purchasing one could get the basics. A roof rack, a ladder up the back, maybe a bull bar and a winch. What else? Nothing. Anything else is a waste. Spending money on behalf of enthusiasts, forcing them to give you their money, you will reduce the number of cars you sell. If you bring the price of the basic car down, you will sell more of them, and because there are more of them, then the accessory manufacturers will climb on board and say, now it's worth investing the money in making accessories. Don't try and be an expert at accessorizing four-wheel drives, because you're no good at it. Ineos, of course, have just released their Quartermaster, the pickup version. And if I look at the pickup, it's very handsome. But I look at the plastic rim, and I'll do a video later, but I really need to see it. But my first reaction was, what are those bars for? With the bars on, you can't put a topper on it, and it's got plastic everywhere, and the bin liner seems to be a plastic bin liner. What happens when water gets underneath the bin liner? It will, and then it then rusts the bin. There's only one way to protect a bin from rust, and it's not a bin liner like that. You've been demonstrating it with a canvas topper cover at the back. It's hopeless for security, it's hopeless for dust, and the items inside will only stay dry if it doesn't rain. I have a lot of questions about the Quartermaster, but if I look at it, my conclusion is it's done just for show. Practically speaking, those bars, what good are they for what? And the last thing really puts the nail in the coffin for the Grenadier, for me, in terms of a Defender replacement. The Defender had this remarkable ability to transition class. I've said it before. It was a classless car. You would have the landowner and gentry in the United Kingdom in the land, and they're going shooting grice. And they would have their Range Rovers and they would have their Defenders, and no Range Rover driver would look down at a Defender, because a Defender was universal. It was classless and actually very good at what it was designed for, because it was practical, simple, cheap. It's no longer a vehicle that can transit class. You've built an expensive, and even the basic vehicle is too expensive to qualify for a replacement of the Land Rover Defender. It's no longer an enthusiast's car. Well, that's wrong. The Grenadier is an enthusiast's car, but it's a rich enthusiast's car, because the basic price is not much different from a top of the range Nissan Patrol or Land Cruiser 300. To me, the most significant and best thing about the Ineos Grenadier is the fact that it is available in North America, where you don't have access to a lot of the vehicles that we have in the rest of the world. mainly 70 series Land Cruisers, actually, if you think about it. But you have Jeep. What does the Ineos Grenadier offer you that Jeep doesn't? Well, actually, quite a bit. Firstly, it has a useful payload, something that all Jeep JKs struggle with. And of course, it's Eurocentric and new and fresh. But the base price Grenadier is close to double the base price Jeep JK. So my plea to Ineos is take that car and strip it. Make a version called, I don't know, give it a fancy name, but strip it of everything that isn't absolutely necessary for safety and safety. Ordinary. How good, how bad? Land Rover Defender, the old one. How the seats were really poor. Fine. They did the job. Get seats that are fine and do the job. None of this Recaro rubbish. Yes, I know that you're probably getting a really good deal for Recaro, so this is not going to make a massive difference if you just change the seats. Because, you know, my Recaros that I have in my car cost me over $2,000 each. Sure, yours are not costing that much, I doubt. Still, every bit counts. Strip it out. That fancy electrical stuff, strip it out. Just have blanks. Even nothing in the roof. Make it basic so that the enthusiast can choose how they spend their money. I've just been editing this and I came up with a thought. You know how this is how you do it. Go and have a look at, and please don't roll your eyes. Go and have a look at the Suzuki Jimny. That vehicle is brilliant. The only thing wrong with that car is the fuel tank is too small and the car itself is too small. The idea, the principle, the basic layout, the basic seats, the basic interior, the basic dashboard, the basic sound system, the quite crude way it's put together. It's cheap. It performs brilliantly off-road, and the enthusiasts adore it. Four-wheel drive enthusiasts, when they arrive in understand this, when we arrive in a parking lot and there are other four-wheel drive enthusiasts, we want to be unique. We want to be able to say, this is mine. Why is it mine? Because I went to the Ineos catalogue and ticked a few boxes? No, that doesn't make it mine. That just makes it another Ineos. There's probably another one in the car park that is almost identical. Mine means I selected the side steps and the bull bar and which winch and which whatever. Where'd you put the water tank? Where'd you put the fuel tank? How did you do this? What did you do for this? How do you convert this? How does it drive now? What's your fuel consumption now? Whole lot of vehicles made on the same platform go to any Jeep Jamboree get together. Not one vehicle. There'll be a few vaguely similar, but there'll be such fresh, brilliant ideas in every single one of those vehicles. Jeep have got it right. They know what they're doing. Ineos Grenadier, you haven't got a clue. You don't understand. You don't understand what the four-wheel drive enthusiast is all about. You've completely lost it. So no, you haven't built a replacement for the Defender. Those are my thoughts. Feel free to comment. I look forward to reading them.